Hey class, Mr. Miles here, back with another spreadsheet tutorial, and today we're going to be creating a list. So far you should have already downloaded and opened up the Create a List guided practice. All right, and once you got it open, it will look just like this. All right, and just like usual, we got some things to do to it. We got to edit it, add some information, input some formulas and some functions, and produce a good output. All right, so let's start by going to the first step, maybe the second step. We should already have it open. So in step number 2, it says in column A, use the fill option to enter employee identification numbers beginning with 001. All right, so that's column A. We're going to start by typing 001, and it says that we're going to use the fill series option. Yep, fill series option. And this is something that we're pretty familiar with, that you all should know how to do. And there's multiple ways, but if we grab this small green square in the bottom right corner, we should be able to input employee numbers just like that. Now, it doesn't always work this way, but since we have that 001, somehow the software knows that we want to create those numbers just like this. All right, so we got that done. Now let's move on to step 3. In cell D5, calculate the days employed by subtracting the date of hire from the current date. All right, the current date is in cell H3. So it says that we're going to calculate the days employed by subtracting the date of hired from the current date. Just like that. And there's a second part to step 3. And it says before copying the formula to the remaining cells in column D, make sure to make the current date inside the formula an absolute cell reference. So make sure to make the current date inside the formula an absolute cell reference. So to do that, so the current date is cell H3. So that means H3 has to be an absolute value. And to do that, we put the dollar signs in front of the H and in front of the 3 because we don't want that to change as we copy this formula to the other remaining cells. Next, step 4 says in column E, write a formula to calculate the months employed by dividing the total number of days employed by the average number of days in a month. All right, and the average number of days in a month is 30.5. Sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 31. So we're just going to take the average, and that's going to be 30.5. And we're going to format this without any decimal places. So that's going to be equal to days employed divided by equal to days employed divided by 30.5. All right, and you'll notice that it gives us a decimal, but we don't want that decimal place. So we're going to get rid of it by pressing that button here in the number group of the home tab. All right, and then we're going to be able to copy this all the way down. All right, so it should give us all of these values without any decimal places. All right, and column E is the number of months employed by each individual. Moving on, step 5, it says create the cells in column G to contain a list using the data from cells B41 through B54. So create the cells in column G to contain a list. All right, so this is what the whole lesson is about, creating a list. Now, this is a lot different from the functions and formulas that we've done before. We're going to do this using what is called a date validation, or data validation. I'm sorry, not a date validation, but a data validation. So in column G, we're going to go ahead and we're going to select all of these cells. All right, and we're going to go to the data tab here, and we want to go to data validation, and we want to allow a list. All right, and once we choose list, we want to select where we want that list to come from. And we want the list to come from B41 through B54. All right, press enter and press OK, and we have our list. And what you'll see now is that for each cell, we have a list. We're able to click the arrow and it gives us a list of these options, just like that. All right, and that's a data validation. Next, step 6. All right, we got some data entry, and I think we're going to fast forward the video, but basically it says select the departments for each employee according to the list below. All right, so each of the individuals of the employees for this company are assigned to a specific department, and we have to go through in our spreadsheet and select which department these individuals are a part of. All right, so I'll give you a moment to do that, and we will return back to the video in a moment. All right, boy, was that tedious or not? All right, so let's check out our next step. So the next step is for us in column H to use the lookup function. All right, this is kind of like a review from our previous lesson. All right, and we're going to use the lookup function to calculate the commission rate based on the number of months employed. All right, so really, each employee gets a specific commission rate based on how long they have been employed. All right, and the data that we're going to use for the lookup function is located in cells D42 through F47. All right, and we also have the formula there for you. All right, so it's going to be equals to lookup, and we want to first start by selecting the months employed. Then we're going to add a comma. All right, and we're going to check the months employed, or we're going to look up the months employed in reference to this table here. All right, and that's this cell range. What's that? D42 through F47. And then we can close our parentheses. And it's going to tell us what the commission rate is based on the number of months employed. So we press enter, and this particular person only gets a commission of, what's that, 0.1%, because they've been employed with the company only 45 months. And anywhere between 36 and 48, you get a commission of 10 cents per sale. All right, and it says we need to have this set at 2 decimal places. So we're going to increase it. So we have our 0. And what we need to do, we'll need to copy this formula to the remaining cells. But before we do that, we have to make that cell range an absolute value, because it needs to stay the same. If we just copy it as is, it's going to change as we copy it down. And the only thing we want to change is the E5. All right. So that's set. We'll copy it all the way down. And voila. So we have the commission rates for each employee. Commission rates for each employee are set. All right, next, step 8. It says in I4, it says key the column heading bonus and format it so that it's consistent with the other headings. All right, so I4, it's going to type bonus, not sonus, but bonus. All right, and we need to give it its grid lines. So we're going to go to line style. I'm going to set it to the double line. I'm going to put one there, and I'll wait for the second one. Okay, next. It says in column I, calculate the bonus amount by multiplying the cells by the commission rate. And we're going to format the data as currency and adjust the column width if necessary. So we're going to multiply sales by the commission rate. So that's going to be equal to, select the commission rate, and we're going to multiply it by the sales. Press enter. And should be able to copy this all the way down. All right, looks like we do need to adjust the width of the column. And let's go ahead and add that other grid line. All set. All set. Almost finished here. And it says in step 10, select the cell range A4 through I30 and create a table of the data. And we're going to do this so that we can organize and select specific data to analyze. And we're going to have to analyze the data so that we can answer some of these questions here. And if you haven't noticed already, these same questions are listed in the spreadsheet. So we got the questions here. You're going to put your answers right below. Some of them are going to require you to type a response, and others are going to require you to use formulas and functions. All right, all things that we've done in the past. All right, so let's select the table. It says from A4 through I30. And we're going to create a table. And you get this quick analysis button here. And you want to go to tables and select table. So that's one way to do it. Like that. All right, and you'll notice it kind of changes how everything looks. So let's go ahead and adjust the widths of all of our columns so that we can see all of our text. All right, and we should be able to do what we need to do. We can analyze and organize. So basically, when you have a table set up like this, you can select specific areas and only see that particular data. So look, we selected all of our employees that are part of the accessories department. So that's one way you can do it. Or you can organize the information in ascending order based on a specific category. So right now it's organized from least to greatest based on how many days the person has been employed. So it looks like the newest employee is Miss Ross Summers as of, what's that, June this year. Yep. So that's pretty much it for me, y'all. I'm going to let you all do what you need to do to get these questions answered. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to raise your hand or ask the person next to you and get it done. Over and out.